Hello YouTube, Sandre here, and this is a response to a flat earther claiming that he can prove that the earth is flat. Now, I was actually supposed to do a response to this video like half a year ago, but for some reason I just forgot, and I noticed that the original uploader has actually taken down the video, it seems. But anyway, I might as well respond to this.
For me, proving a stationary Earth is quite simple. According to mainstream science, the Earth is spinning at the equator at the supersonic rate of 1,040 miles per hour. That's about as fast as this jet appears to be flying.
Oh man, how many times have I heard this crap? Okay, listen. You do not feel velocity. You feel acceleration. Yes, the Earth at the equator spins really fast. However, you do not feel that velocity because you are already moving along with the rotation of the Earth. Okay, that is how it works. If the spin of the Earth were to speed up or slow down somewhat, that you would feel because you feel acceleration. You do not feel constant velocity. This is a basic physical fact. Imagine sitting in a car, driving down the highway at 60 miles per hour. As long as you keep a constant velocity, you might as well sit in your kitchen because you don't feel anything. However, as soon as you speed up or hit on the brakes, you feel something. You feel your speed either increasing or decreasing because you feel the acceleration. And what's happening is that your inertia is working against the new motion. Once you've accelerated to the new velocity, whether it's higher or lower, then you do not feel the acceleration anymore and you're back to constant velocity, which you cannot feel. Again, this is not rocket science. It's pretty goddamn simple.
Let's assume, and every ball earther would agree with me, that every mass on planet Earth is being pulled exactly to the center of the Earth, which would be the center of all the masses around us in essence. Now imagine any point on the ball Earth and picture that point spinning around the axis of rotation of the Earth. No matter which point you pick, with the exception of exact north or south poles, all of those points have the same path. In other words, depending on your location, you may be closer or further from the axis of rotation, but every person and every mass is going around the axis with uniform circular motion. Again, any given point is spinning in a flat circle around the axis of rotation of the Earth. This means that there has to be a centripetal force that has a tendency to fling you in the opposite direction of the axis of rotation, not opposite the center of the Earth, but opposite the center of your own flat circular path. If we are to believe a ball Earth, then of course we know this force would be small and wouldn't overcome the force of gravity. So of course I'm not arguing we should be flying off into space, if that's what you want to call it. But as it turns out, this force is not negligible. This has huge ramifications because what it means is that everything on the spinning globe should be pulled, however small, to the equator. A tendency to flatten out due to the spin and gravity always pulling you to the center.
Alright, so for the first of all, Mr. Engineer, you said centripetal force when I think what you are looking for is the centrifugal force. Now this could be a simple slip-up, but it wouldn't surprise me if you've just sort of exposed yourself as someone who pretends to be an engineer, but you're actually not an engineer. Because if you're actually confusing the centrifugal and the centripetal force, that's a mistake that no engineer should ever make. A simple slip of the tongue? Fair enough. But if you honestly can't tell the difference between the two, then I very much doubt you're an actual engineer. Just saying. Now, you are correct that the centrifugal force, not the centripetal force, but the centrifugal force, has to have a direction. In other words, it must point away from the latitude that we are at. Now, the reason, dummy, that you do not feel this centrifugal force, one, it's actually pretty tiny. The centrifugal force that you feel around the equator, for instance, only makes a difference of about, 4/10 of a decimal in terms of Earth's gravity. 2, the average angle that you will see in terms of how the gravitational vectors are actually spread out over the surface of the Earth, you will notice that the equator actually bulges a little bit. Yes, the Earth is actually a little bit fatter around the equator than it is at the poles because of the centrifugal force that we talked about before. This also means that the vectors of the force of gravity are going to be slightly shifted a little bit. So at certain points of the globe, the vectors of gravity don't actually align perfectly with a sphere, but a spheroid.
Extreme science actually acknowledges this phenomenon because they themselves say that the Earth is oblate and bulges at the equator and has less of a circular diameter pole to pole because of this. And yet, I have never once heard that masses are pulled to the equator.
Okay, so this is literally what I just talked about, so it seems like you're aware of this phenomena, so why did you even bring it up?
So, to summarize, we are supposed to believe that uniform circular motion, or spin of the Earth, is powerful enough to smush the ball, yet we can't measure even the slightest force of pull toward the equator.
Oh man, my head hurts. This is so dumb. No. Nothing is pulled towards the equator, you dummy. The equator bulges because of the centrifugal force that you told everyone about before. That is what is responsible for the very slight change, which is the gravity of the Earth, between the equator and the poles. Nothing is pulled towards the equator. The equator is actually pulled towards the center of mass of the Earth. It's just not pulled quite as hard as the rest of the Earth because of the fucking centrifugal force that you just talked about, you goddamn idiot. Right, okay, so this is all I can take, and there really isn't much else to this video either. My god, this was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I'm not even being cheeky or anything. It's just, this was really, really dumb. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. Take care.